Greetings, grade 4s. Welcome to another lesson of maths with Mr. Travis and WorksheetCloud. Let's jump into today's lesson. Just a reminder at the start of the lesson, as we normally do, remind you if you want to get hold of us, grade 4 at WorksheetCloud.com. You can address it to Mr. T or Mr. Travis. And after the lesson, click on that link above, answer the questions, make sure you've mastered what it is that we're doing today. The first thing we do after this slide is our mental arithmetic, our daily waking up of our brains. So you've got 40 seconds to answer 10 questions. First prize is to get them all right, and if you are consistently getting them all right, then it's to get them right as fast as possible. So still getting them all right, but going quicker and quicker. The idea is that these things will be sort of facts in our head that we barely even need to work out. So we've got two operations, plus and times today, multiplication and addition. 40 seconds start now. And that's time up. That's 40 seconds. Let's go through it and see how you did. 4 plus 5 is 9. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 plus 5 is 8. 3 times 5 is 15. 6 plus 5 is 11. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 plus 7 is 12. 5 times 7 is 35. 6 plus 8 is 14. And 6 times 8 is 48. If you missed any, just rewind, watch it again, and mark them. Before we get on to actual lesson today, let's have a look at one of these. These things pop up quite often on social media. Perhaps your parents do them. Perhaps they've wanted to see if you can manage them. Let's have a look at this one and see how we do. I'm going to switch over to the whiteboard. I'm going to give you a short while to try it, and then I will help you. So I can tell you that we want to start with the first line. And we want to look for three things. Whenever the picture is the same, then they are worth the same value. So we're looking for three things that are the same that add up to give us 12. So that's where you're going to start. Well, I'm going to go through the first line. If you've got it already, that's fantastic. I'm going to go through the first line, and once we've got that, I'll show you where to go from there. And you can always pause the video if you'd like more time to work it out on your own. All right, well, I've got three things that are the same that add up to give me 12. So really what I'm doing is I'm sharing this 12 into 3. So if I share 12 into 3 or divide 12 by 3, I get 4. So I now know that each of those clover leaves is worth 4. And if they're worth 4 in those lines, they are also worth 4 in the other lines. Right, so now I've got to work out something else. We always look for a line when we've only got one thing we don't know. So in this line, we have two things we don't know, so we can't work it out. In this line, we've got two things we don't know, so we can't work that out. In the second line, however, we only don't know this. So we know the answer, and we know what these two things are. So that's where we're going to go next. So we need to get a total of 16. We've got 4 over here and 4 over here, so we've already got those two together come to 8. We've already got 8 of our 16, so what more do we need to get to 16? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, no, 16. So we need another 8. And that shows us that the pot of gold is worth 8, which means the pot of gold in the next line is also worth 8. Now that we know that the pot of gold is worth 8, we'll be able to work out the third line, because we know those two things. So we know that 8 times something gives us 40. Well, 8 times 5 gives us 40. So we now know that the flour is 12, and we can now work out that 5 times 4 is 20, and our final answer is 20. If you like these sorts of things, just search for maths picture riddles or maths picture puzzles. They're quite fun. One thing to watch out for is sometimes they might have like a picture that's slightly different. So for example, over here, your clover has 3 leaves, and maybe over here you'll have 2 clovers, and then you'll know that 2 clovers is worth twice as much as 1. Anyway, we'll look at it again in future. Let's have a look at our lesson again. So on to what we're doing. This is something that comes up surprisingly often in sort of mental maths tests. It's your understanding of weeks, months, and leap years, and years, that sort of thing. It's not really, I suppose it is time. I guess that's how we're going to put it together. It's time. All right, okay. This is what I'm hoping you'll be able to achieve by the end of the lesson. Be able to work out how many days are in each month. I've got a trick for that. Maybe you know it already. Be able to work with days of the week and dates. So working out what date it'll be and what day of the week, and also to be able to work out when leap years are. Perhaps you've heard of leap years, perhaps you haven't, but by the end of this lesson you will know about them. So a couple of facts. There are 7 days in a week. I'm sure you knew that. A fortnight is 2 weeks. It's not the same as the game, for those of you that just got excited. Fortnight, the game, doesn't have the GH, it's fortnight. So this is a fortnight, and a fortnight is 2 weeks. It's just a word that might come up. So you might get something like, it's the 10th day, what will the date be in a fortnight? And then you've got to work out what the date will be 2 weeks from there. So it's really testing whether you understand the word fortnight or remember the word fortnight. There are 52 weeks in a year. Something to know, I guess that's just a fact you have to learn. Yeah, it's not divided equally into the months, but yeah, there we go. We'll come to months now. There are 12 months in the year. Do you know that there used to only be 10 months in the year? And in fact, sept, the start of the word September, means 7, because September used to be the 7th month. Oct means 8, which used to be the 8th month. Now it's the 10th month. No for Nov, or November, is the beginning of the word we use for 9. And Dec, D-E-C, from December used to mean 10. So December used to be the 10th month. But then, during Roman times, the Senate decided to honor their general, Julius Caesar. And so they added in the month July in between, and it was the month when he was born. And then Augustus Caesar, who came later, also wanted to have a month named after him. So July and August are named after the two of them. And that's why we now have 12 months, even though December starts with the beginning of the word that means 10. Useless information, but I find it very interesting. There are 365 and a quarter days in a year. That quarter, A year is the amount of time it takes the Earth to go around the sun. And the Earth didn't decide that it was going to be exactly 365. It just happens that it's 365 and a quarter. In fact, that quarter means that every 4 years, we end up with a whole extra day. And we put that day at the end of our shortest month, which is February. So every 4 years, February has an extra day. And we call a year when February has an extra day a leap year. My cousin's actually born on a leap year. She's born on the 29th of February. So she actually only has a real birthday every 4 years. Although, of course, that doesn't mean that she's only, I won't say her age, but it doesn't mean that she's still young. She, of course, has lived as many years as everyone else. It just means that she hasn't actually celebrated her actual birthday as many times as other people. Bit of a problem. And that's this. It's not really 365 and a quarter days. It's just a tiny bit less than 365 and a quarter. So it's been rounded off to be 365 and a quarter. And what that does is it means that after a certain amount of time, the leap year is going to be out again. We're going to need to get rid of one. And here's how you'll know. Now, I don't think that your teachers will test you on this, but I think it's interesting, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So, First of all, to find out if a year is a leap year. So perhaps I said to you, is 2020 a leap year? How will you know? Well, perhaps you remember February and you will know that it is a leap year, but perhaps you don't. Either way, here's how you'll work it out. Well, we look at the year 2020 and we ask ourselves, is that divisible by 4? I hope you remember the divisibility rule for 4. Let me go back to the whiteboard just to show it to you. All right, I'll do it on the side of the picture here. All right, so we were looking at the year 2020. How do we know if it's divisible by 4? Oh, that's taking a little while to arrive. 2020, 20, come on, 20. All right, I have written 2020. There we go, finally. Okay, so if we want to know if this is divisible by 4, all we need to do is to check if the last 2 digits of the number are divisible by 4. So is that 20 divisible by 4? Does 4 go into 20? And the answer is yes, 4 does. And that means that the whole number is divisible by 20. All right, so that will mean that this is a leap year. 2020 is a leap year. So if I gave you 2036, no, let's make it 2034, and I ask you, is 2034 going to be a leap year? All you need to do is look at the last 2 digits and say, does 4 fit into 34? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. It does not. So this is not going to be a leap year. All right, so that's just a reminder of the divisibility rule for 4 and how we can check. All right, so then continuing along this line, so that means that if it's not divisible by 4, we know for sure it's not. Now, most of the time, if it is divisible by 4, it is going to be a leap year. But sometimes, and when it's in the hundreds, like when it's the year 100, 200, 300, or 1,000, 1,200, or 2,000, 2,100, then we've got to check. So first up, we check if the year is divisible by 100. If it isn't divisible by 100, then it is a leap year. If it is divisible by 100, then we need to check if it's divisible by 400. Okay, so let's go back to the whiteboard and have a look at that. All right, let me make some, oops, that's the wrong button. Let me make some space. All right, I'm going to put a couple of years and we'll check through them. All right, so I've got 4 numbers over here. Let's have a look at them. Okay, so we'll start with the 2013. And the first thing we're going to do is to check if the year is divisible by 4. So 13, we check if 4 goes into 13, and it doesn't. So that means we follow down this one, which means it's not a leap year. So that one is not a leap year. Let's have a look at the black one next. So the black one, we first check if it's divisible by 4. It is divisible by 4, which means we go down here. Now we need to check, is the year divisible by 100? Right? It's not divisible by 100, which means this is a leap year. Let's have a look at 1900. Right, well, we have a look over there. 0 is also divisible by 4, so we've gone down this route. Now we check, is it divisible by 100? It is divisible by 100, so 100 goes into it, so we're still going this way. Now we need to check if it's divisible by 400. 400 doesn't go into this number, which means we go down this route, and this is not a leap year. Lastly, we're going to have a look at the year 2000. So we start off by checking if it's divisible by 4. It is. We go this way. Is it divisible by 100? Yes. We go this way. Is it also divisible by 400? Yes. And that means that this is a leap year. Right. That's quite a complicated way of thinking it. If you remember only one thing, then just check to see if it's divisible by 4. And if it is, it's going to be a leap year. And if it's not, then it's not going to be a leap year. That's the easiest thing to remember. And you'll be right almost all of the time. Let's go back and have a look what else we've got. So here's how we remember the months, or how many days there are in each month. So those two things are your knuckles. So what you do is you take your knuckles and you put it like this together, right? And starting on your left hand at the outside, I think I'm mirrored over here, but let's have a look. As you look at the screen, you start over here. Every second month, every time you have a bump that's up, you've got 31. So you go January, February is between the knuckles, March, April, May, June, July, and then next to July we go straight on to the next knuckle is August, September is the dip, October is the up, November is the down, and December is the up. All of the up ones have 31. All right, that's easy to remember. So the only time we've got to take note is that both of the middle ones where your hands touch, those are 31. Otherwise, they alternate as a random piece of information. So Julius Caesar was the one who had a month named after him with 31 days. And Augustus Caesar also wanted to have the same number of days. And so that's why the two 31s are next to each other. And then the only one you've got to remember is February, which has 28. But then every 4 years, every leap year, it has 29. So that's a cool way. If you ever need to check how many days there are in a month and you can't remember, you just have a look at your knuckles. And that will help you to remember which one it is. All right. Well, we've got to go to the worksheet, to the board, and have a look at some questions. Where are my questions? There they are, to the left. Okay, so here's an example of a question. Right, today, the 6th of March is a Tuesday. What day will the 12th be? All right, so we've got the 6th of March is a Tuesday. So let's count until we get to the 12th. 7th of March is a Wednesday. 8th is a Thursday. 9th is a Friday, 10th is a Saturday, 11th is a Sunday, 12th is a Monday. All right, so we added 6 days, and we can see that the 12th will be a Monday. All right, and the other way that we can do it is we can say, well, 7 days would have been a week, and we would have got all the way back to Tuesday, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 7 would have got us all the way there, and then we would have finished over there. We didn't quite get to 7. We only had 6, so we got 1 less, and that's why you can see it's the day before, which is a Monday. Another question, the 28th of April is a Saturday. What date will the 3rd of May be? Right, so this is one of those questions where, because we're crossing over the end of a month, we need to be able to check how many days the month is. So that's your starting point. If you've got a date that's near the end of the month and one that's in the start of the next month, you need to check, first of all, how many days there are in that month. So we hold up our hands like this, January 31, February short, March 31, April short. So we know that April has 30 days in it. I'm just jotting that down to help me. All right, so what day will the 3rd of May be? All right, so 28th was a Saturday, 29th was a Sunday, 30th was a Monday, the 1st of May was a Tuesday, 2nd of May was a Wednesday, the 3rd of May is a Thursday. All right, so this kind of question checks whether you're able to work through the week, but also checks whether you know how many days there are in every month. Let's have a look at the next one, which is similar. If it is the 20th of June today, what will the date be in a fortnight? So this is testing two things. First up, do you know what a fortnight is? Hope you remembered, a fortnight is 2 weeks. Right, so 2 weeks. Okay, so we need to know 2 weeks after the 20th of June. So now we need to check how many days there are in June. So January, February, March, April, May, June. June is one of the shorter ones. It's in the gap between the knuckles. So it also has 30 days. Right, so we've got 2 weeks, which is 14 days. It would take us 10 days to get to the 30th, and then we need another 4 days. So the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. So it is going to be the 4th of July. Second last question. Will 2026 be a leap year? Right, so first thing we're going to do, is this divisible by 4? 2, 4, 6, 8, no, I'm counting in twos. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. 4 doesn't go into there. 2026 will not be a leap year. Simple as that, no further. Right, last one. Will 2036 be a leap year? So we have to see if 4 goes into the last 2 digits. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. 36 goes in there. We need to check if it's divisible by 100. It isn't. This will be a leap year. Right. These are the sorts of questions you're going to get. Yeah, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. So the only way to make sure that you're going to get this right is to practice it, which you do by clicking on the link to the worksheet and doing it. That's it for this lesson, brought to you by Worksheet Cloud. If you need to email me, it's grade4@worksheetcloud.com. Grade 4s, have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.